What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is here today, and if it's your first time stopping by, you are most definitely welcome. So on today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with us how to make this beautiful Ankara shorts, with an elastic waist and also with side pockets. I've actually made a tutorial like this before where I made just the shorts with an elastic waist. So someone requested for the same shorts with side pockets. Yes, so that is what I'm going to be showing us how to do in this video. Right, so guys, if this is something you're interested in, let's get right into the video. Okay guys, so this is the fabric I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to go ahead now to fold this into two, and to know the wideness I'm going to use, I'm going to divide my hip circumference into 4. That's 40 divided by 4, that is 10, and I'm going to add about 3 inches to that. So on fold here, guys, I have 13 inches. So after getting the wideness, the next thing is the length of the short. Now guys, I want this short to be 15 inches long, and I'm going to add 2 inches to that as my seam or folding allowance. So right here you can see I'm marking 17 inches. So this is going to be the length of my short. So after extending that line, the next thing I'm going to mark 2 inches above the former line I just made. Now guys, this 2 inches is going to be for my elastic casing, right? So above the measurement I marked earlier, that's the full length of the shorts, I just went ahead to mark 2 inches, which is my elastic casing, as I've said. So I'll just go ahead now to label that. You can see this part here is the elastic casing. So now I'll start taking my measurements. So from this first line here, that's my waistline, I'm going to mark 8 inches, which is going to be my hip line, right? 8 inches. I'll go ahead to mark that at another point, and I'm going to extend the line like so. So this is my hip line. So still starting from that same first line, you note that I'm not starting from the elastic line but from the other second line. I'll go ahead now to mark my crotch line, which is 12 inches on my crotch measurement. So I'll extend that line. So how you can get to your crotch measurement, just sit on a table and measure from your waist to the top of that table. So that's how you get your crotch. So now on my hip line, I've marked my hip circumference divided by 4, and I've added 1 inch as sewing allowance to that, right? So now guys, what I've marked on the hip line, I'm going to mark this also on the waistline here, 11 inches. This is just so as to get a straight line. I'll also mark the same thing on the crotch. So I have 11 inches on all 3 lines, and I'll join the 3 points together in a straight line like so. So now guys, the next thing I'm going to do is on the crotch line, from that line I'm going to mark 2 inches. So guys, if your hip circumference is above 40, you can make use of 2.5 inches. So I'm gonna have to mark 2 inches, and I connected that to the straight line coming from the hip line. So now guys, the next thing, from this my waistline, I'm going to mark the full length of my shorts, which is 15 inches. You can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to extend that line like so. So this is the initial full length of my shorts. So now I'll mark my round thigh measurement. The round thigh is 24 divided by 2. I'll go ahead now to mark 12 inches, and I also added 1 inch as sewing allowance, so I marked 13 inches, and I'll connect that to the measurement on the crotch line. So guys, that is it. You can see it's very simple. I'm done with the front. I'm just going to cut it out, and you can see this is my elastic casing here. That is what I'm showing you guys. So now guys, to cut the back, it's basically the same thing. I'm just simply going to place what I've cut as my front. I'm going to place it on this remainder of the fabric, and I'm going to add 2 inches to this crotch parts. This 2 inches is going to be for ease and also for sewing allowance for the back. So on my crotch line also, I'm going to add 2 inches. Don't forget, if your hip circumference is above 40, let's say 42, 45, use 2.5 inches as the measurement on your crotch area. So guys, I'm gonna have to add 2 inches all around this. So and I'm basically done also with the back cut. So I'm just going to cut this out. You can see what I'm doing. So now guys, the next thing is to slit the front and the back patterns into two. So now we can start sewing. So the first thing I'm going to do is to sew the crotch area together. So for the front piece rather, we have two pieces. I'm going to join the crotch part by 1/2 inch. So yeah, this is it. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna add to sew this down, and I'm also gonna add to iron this, so you can see what it looks like. Yeah, this is the back. The back is wider than the front. So now guys, the next thing now is to make my pockets. So guys, for my pocket, I'm going to first take in the elastic casing I marked earlier. So from that point, I'm going to mark 6 inches. This is going to be my pocket spacing. So if you measure it from the beginning to where I marked, this is 8 inches. I'm going to mark the same thing on the other side, 8 inches. So I'll place this aside now and cut the pocket. So guys, my pocket, you can see the length is going to be 14 inches long and the wideness is going to be 6 inches wide. You can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to cut this out. I'm also going to cut another piece like this. You know, I'm going to be having 2 pieces of this pocket piece. So I'll just go ahead now to cut another piece like this. So here are the pocket pieces. Now let's place our pocket pieces onto our pocket spacing. So you can see how my pocket piece is folded, and I just placed this under the front piece. So this is what it looks like. So now guys, you can see that part that is folded in the middle is on the inside, and the part that is slitted is on the outside. So this is how I'll take this to the sewing machine now and sew this by 1/2 inch from the waist up to this point that I marked here. I'll just sew this down by 1/2 inch. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to sew this down, so you can see guys, this is what it's going to look like once you do this. So now guys, the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to arrange my pockets well. Don't forget that you're going to attach this to the front piece, and so once I fold it in, this is what it's going to look like. All right, so now the next thing is to close up our pocket. I'll take this to the sewing machine now and sew this down from where the pocket is still opened to close it up to the end. So guys, when sewing this, make sure that the front piece of this cloth is not in contact with the pocket that you are sewing, right? So you can see this is what it looks like. I'm just going to cut off the excess now. So what I did earlier was just to close up my pocket on the inside. So yeah, I'm done attaching one pocket to one side of the front piece. So once you are done doing that, this is what it's going to look like. Yeah. So guys, to make this place lay flat, the next thing I'm going to do is to run a straight stitch on this pocket side, you know, so it can relax. You can just stop stitch that part. So now guys, I'm also going to place the second piece of my pocket piece onto the other side of my front piece, and don't forget to measure 8 inches. You know, that is where the sewing of your pocket is going to stop at. So this is what it looks like. And guys, when sewing your pockets, you know, make sure to arrange them well so it doesn't, in a way that it won't confuse you. You know, it can be confusing sometimes. So just make sure you attach the right place, you know, the right piece to the right place. So just like I did for the other side, I'm gonna have to attach one part of my pocket piece to the, you know, front part. So this is what it looks like on the inside. So now the next thing is to, of course, close up the pocket. I'm going to sew the remainder of this opening by 1/2 inch, and I'll bring it back when I'm done. So here it is guys. I'll just cut off the excess now. I'm actually done sewing my pockets to the front pieces, and I'm also going to top stitch these parts, you know, so it can lay flat. Also, if you have a hemming gum, you can attach a hemming gum to that part so it will look swollen. Yeah, so guys, this is what the front of the shirt looks like. So I'll go ahead now to iron this so it can lay very flat also. So this is what the wrong side looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to place the back piece to the front piece so I can sew them down. So the first thing you sew is the crotch area. You can see I'll just sew this by 1/2 inch. So this is what it looks like. I'm gonna to sew that. So now guys, to attach the sides, there's no need to take any measurements. Just join the side of the pocket from the front. Remember that part of the pocket that is not sewn on the front, that is where you're going to attach to the back piece. So now guys, you're going to sew this down also from the waist to the end of this short. So once you get to this part where the pocket is going to end, you shift off the pocket piece like so you don't attach it to the remaining side of this short, right? So just sew this down by 1/2 inch, and I've gone ahead to do the same thing to the other side. This is very simple to do. So this is what it looks like. Remember that you're not going to be taking any measurements because the waist is going to be an elastic waist. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to attach this front piece here, this upper part here, attach the pocket, sew that part down. So guys, the next thing now I'm going to do is to sew in my elastic casing. So how you can do this is to iron that waist area, the 2 inches I left as my elastic casing. I'm just going to sew this down. So I'll go ahead to iron this first so it won't give me any issue, and I'm going to go ahead to fold it once more, and I'll sew this down all around the waist. So also for the hem of my short, I'm also going to fold that into 2 and hem that. So now guys, for this waist, when sewing, you can see for the middle of the front I left some space there. I didn't finish sewing that part so that I can actually pass my elastic casing through. So guys, my waist is 28 inches. Just subtract 6 inches from your waist so to cut your elastic. So guys, my waist is 28 inches, subtract 6. So this my elastic, my fat elastic is 22 inches long. So with the aid of a safety pin, I'm just passing this through the elastic casing I made on the waist. So now once you're done passing, you're just going to stitch both tips of the elastic. You're going to stitch it down, and you're going to arrange your elastic very well into your elastic casing. So once you do that, the next thing now is to sew down that part that helped you pass the elastic through. You're going to sew that part down, and I'm also going to fold the hem of this short like I mentioned earlier. I'll fold that twice, and guys, this is it. This is what the finished look looks like. You can see that this is very easy to make and very simple. Within I think within an hour, from like 50 minutes to 1 hour, you should be able to achieve this, both cutting and sewing. It's very easy to do. So guys, if you have any questions for me, let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to see you all in the next video, and please don't forget to like and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Bye guys.